In this week's Drive, we see a production-ready concept car from BMW, go on board with a new MotoGP Ducati, stay out of trouble for a change, and follow a century of motoring down under. In this week's 100th episode of Drive. We start this week with the dawn of a new era in Formula One. The world's most glamorous sport breaks new ground, travelling to Bahrain for the first race in the Middle East. The third round of the year will be on a state-of-the-art circuit built in record time in the middle of the desert.
Well, we haven't got anything in that part of the world, and I've been looking to go to somewhere in the Middle East and the Gulf for a long, long time. So we were lucky when the people from Bahrain come along, and we thought that was the right place to be. It's going to be a really magic, lovely circuit, and they've done a super job. I think we've got to move east. You know, I genuinely believe that unless Europe wakes up, certainly in the next few years, we will be a third world economy. We won't be able to compete with China and Korea and maybe India, places like that. Got to wake up in Europe.
Eccleston, Formula One's commercial supremo, has said that there are several countries keen to replace races in danger of being axed as a result of European Union anti-tobacco legislation. Unlike the venue for the Olympic Games in Athens, construction of the new track went smoothly.
This is considered to be the largest government-backed project in Bahrain so far, and I think we're happy to say that we've completed it in 485 days. And the main worry was the Iraqi war and maybe falling behind schedule, but we've maintained the 2% ahead of schedule throughout the project, so we were happy that's completed.
It's a tremendous achievement. I think it's the result of many hundreds, if not thousands, of people's man-hours being put into a project that has really radically transformed not only what people's expectations are of what is possible in a small country like Bahrain, but I think of the region, specifically the Middle East. We're very proud to have a world-class venue, and even more proud that we're going to have a world-class event in the coming few weeks.
The first racetrack of its kind in the Arab world was opened by the ruler of Bahrain, His Majesty the King Sheikh bin Hamad Isa Al Khalifa. Former Grand Prix driver Jean Alesi drove Juan Manuel Fangio's 1955 Mercedes-Benz 196 Streamliner on a demonstration lap of the 5.4-kilometre track. Frenchman Alesi raced for several teams, including Ferrari, Jordan, Benetton, and for his Ferrari teammate Alain Prost. He won the Montreal Grand Prix on his 31st birthday in 1995 and now drives a Mercedes in the German GTM Touring Car Championship.
As a big fan of motor racing, I just can say thank you to the people who make our sport big, like it is at the moment in Bahrain. There is two possibilities to organize a Formula One Grand Prix, or using facilities like middle of the city and doing something in between, or going on the hardest way, like in Bahrain, which is starting from zero and making maybe one of the best circuits in the world.
The historic Silver Arrow was driven by legends like 5-time world champion Fangio and Alberto Ascari. BMW Williams test driver Marc Gené and Alesi then took to the track for an historic showdown, an exhibition time trial between last year's Williams FW25 and the Saudia Williams FW07. This was the car that gave Alan Jones his 1980 world title.
Well, it's very important because I've been trying to do something in the Middle East for a long time. And we sort of nearly got there on different occasions and missed for whatever the reasons have been. I can't even remember now. But it is very, very important. It's one part of the world which is obviously a big, important part of the world, and we need to be there. And I'm very happy that it's Bahrain.
The $150 million track was designed by Herman Tilke, who also designed Malaysia's Sepang circuit.
The design challenge was, first of all, that we are in the desert and we are in an Arabic country. This is a big challenge because we cannot do something that's already present in Europe. We have to design something so that people recognize we are in an Arabic country. So this was the difficulty. And also the sand, of course. We are in the middle of the desert. So this was challenging too.
Sir Jackie Stewart had a chance meeting on a flight in 1999 and the seeds of the track were sown.
I suppose it all started when I met the Crown Prince of Bahrain on Concorde, going from New York to London. I was sitting there, I recognised him, but I didn't know who he was. He went back to his seat in the plane and during the flight came up to say hello because he was a big enthusiast of motorsport. And I suppose that's when the seed was planted. He also came as a guest of the Stuart Ford team to the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and that was his first Grand Prix that he saw behind the scenes. And he came and stayed the whole weekend with us and got so excited about it. He went back to Bahrain and here we have what we see today.
Some of the sport's biggest names are looking forward to getting to terms with the circuit ahead of the inaugural Bahrain Grand Prix.
Well, I think as obviously the Middle East has provided a lot of our power source over the last few years for vehicles, then I think it would be great to have another venue on the calendar.
Fantastic. We need it, and it's very good news, I think so. Bernie done a very good job to make this race happen, and I believe every team principal is very exciting, and including the driver.
First of all, I don't know why we are not there already. I mean, this is certainly a part of the world which especially for television is very good because of time changes and other things. To travel, it's not too far. So to get everybody there and back, I think is a simple, straightforward thing, and I guess the money is there available to build a proper circuit and make a real good race out of it.
To have a proper circuit built in the Gulf is going to be a great move forward for the whole region.
We need to expand our modern world, let's put it this way. So I'm very happy. I think it's good for Formula One and good for us.
Drivers will have to deal with searing heat and possibly sand on the track. Organisers used high-grip asphalt, making this the most sophisticated venue on the calendar. So much for the predictions that Ferrari would falter in the Malaysian heat. Schumacher has won both races, although Montoya got closer at Sepang and Button's third was his first podium. The red team already have double the points of their next nearest rivals, causing many long faces among other teams. Yet it's looking like a vintage year already. The long NASCAR series moved to Atlanta for race 4 of 36, and golfing legend Arnold Palmer, getting ready for the Masters in a few weeks, attended the event.
125,000 plus seats here, so a lot of seats, a lot of people.
The race got off to a clean start, and for once it turned out to be a race in which there would be just a handful of caution periods and no major crashes, although it wouldn't be a NASCAR race if there weren't a few moments of high drama.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car at first, he didn't get a very good start, but he picked up on him going into turn 1. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car.
The first of these came on lap 57 when defending champion and 2004 points leader Matt Kenseth made a mess of his entry into pit lane. He apparently hit the brakes late and skated across the entrance to pit road, missing the commitment cone. Drivers must pass inside that cone to enter pit road. Kenseth did all he could to stay in control of his car and spun it around to get to his pit. But he was slow, losing time when the race was under green flags, and he was penalised 1 lap.
And all this is happening under green.
Yeah, I think what happened is when Gordon and...
On lap 246, Jamie McMurray, racing in the top 5, blew his engine, so he was off to an early shower. Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a well-timed pass on race leader Jeremy Mayfield with just 14 of the 325 laps left, and he claimed a top spot with a solid pass to which Mayfield had no answer. His car seemed to get stronger in the latter stages of the race, and Earnhardt Jr. was never seriously challenged. A week after he was nearly parked for running too slow, Earnhardt sprinted to an easy victory over Mayfield and fast rookie Casey Kane. The victory moved him up to third in the points race. Matt Kenseth still leads Tony Stewart by 82 points, with Earnhardt another 8 points further back. Despite his pit lane problems, Kenseth fought back to 6th overall. Without the penalty, he would have been a strong candidate for victory. At the recent Geneva Motor Show, BMW showed the proposed new M5 flagship performance saloon. They call it a concept car, but it's very close to production ready, if the market is ready for what lies under the bonnet, a 5-litre V10. A deep front valence and more muscular front end is integrated into the car's nose. Side and rear skirts are added, and a slight rear spoiler, large alloy wheels and the trademark 4-tip exhaust show this is the king of the 5 Series. Legendary German driver Hans Stuck has driven the car.
It's an incredible car. Above all, if you like a sporting style, and I do, and I'm sure you do too, you'll be really thrilled. This car makes your dreams come true. It has a great engine, and you shift gears with paddles like in Formula One. Then you've got the sports mode transmission, so typical of BMW, and all that comes in a comfortable luxury saloon. It really is everything you need.
In much the same way that the previous generation M5's V8 engine impressed with its refinement and performance, the new V10 is set to raise the bar on all engines. The new engine lives up to the 5 in 5 Series. The 5-litre V10, derived from BMW's own Formula One technology, gives 500 horsepower and 500 newton-meters. Such high levels of performance are made possible by specially modified BiVanos camshaft timing, individual throttle butterflies and engine electronics derived from the BMW Williams Formula One car. These are linked to an enhanced traction control system, a variable limited slip differential and uprated brakes. BMW is expected to offer 2 transmissions, a 6-speed manual and a semi-automatic 7-speed sequential manual gearbox. Based on the 5 Series saloon launched in 2003, both cars benefit from an aluminium chassis and lightweight aluminium front body panels. Not being a production car, BMW aren't making firm claims about performance, but 0 to 100 in less than 5 seconds and 0 to 200 kilometers an hour in around 13 seconds are plausible, making the M5 probably the world's fastest 4-door saloon. The M5 should make its way into dealers' showrooms in the 3rd quarter of this year. The V10 engine used in the M5 will also go into the upcoming M6, and a shortened version made into a V8 will make its way into the next generation M3. While BMW insists this is strictly a concept car, I'm betting a production version won't look too different from this. May this year marks the 100th anniversary of that most famous motoring name, Rolls-Royce. A cavalcade of the stately motor cars is making its way around the world, with local and foreign owners joining in the celebrations in various gatherings and rallies. One such event was held in Melbourne, Australia, with over 300 local Rolls-Royce and Bentley cars gathered together, with 30 from overseas, making it the biggest such gathering ever held in Australia.
We've come from the UK, from Cranley near Guildford, and we travelled via Hong Kong to Cairns and had a little holiday in Cairns, and then we flew down to Brisbane, collected the car out of the box, and we've driven all the way down to Melbourne.
What does the Centennial Rolls-Royce Rally mean to you?
It's 100 years of Rolls-Royce, one of the most famous cars, if not the most famous car, a special car, and we're here to enjoy the car and to celebrate Henry Royce and Charles Rolls.
Charles Rolls was killed in an air crash in 1910, but Henry Royce went on to build the world's best cars. Although knighted, Royce only ever called himself a mechanic.
Walter Hall went to London and ordered the car in 1911 and then went to New York, apparently on the Titanic, and never saw the car. It was delivered to his widow Eliza in 1912, and she had it for 5 years, and upon her passing, the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute was established.
The Institute is one of Australia's top medical research establishments, its mission being mastery of disease through discovery.
It was purchased by the Australian government. It was delivered in 1959, and it was primarily used for royal visits and for transporting other visiting heads of state. So it saw service in 1963 for the royal tour then, and subsequent tours, and its last official duty was in 1988 when it was used for transporting the Princess and Prince of Wales for the bicentenary celebrations in Sydney.
Henry Royce's demand for perfection was legendary, but he never expected any of his workers to do anything that he couldn't do himself. He once filed a hexagonal nut without the aid of any measuring instruments, and when it was measured later, each of the 6 sides proved to be identical. The oldest vehicle present was one of 2 1909 Silver Ghosts. The youngest, a fresh-off-the-line brand-new Phantom. There's the tradition of 95 years of building the very best between these 2 cars. The new Phantom costs about £210,000. The 1906 car completed a 15,000-mile non-stop reliability trial. An aluminium body and its silent-running engine prompted the name Silver Ghost. The tour is moving on around the world, and the new Phantom's going with it. This year's MotoGP World Championship starts in mid-April at the Fakisa Raceway in the middle of South Africa's goldfields. Ahead of that, all the teams have been hard at work testing their new machinery. The sensation of last year's series, the Ducati team, have been getting to grips with their new machinery in tests at both Sepang in Malaysia and Valencia in Spain. Italian rider Loris Capirossi will lead the challenge for the manufacturers from Bologna, together with Australian teammate Troy Bayliss. Both are former world champions. Capirossi in the 125 and 250 classes, and Bayliss in World Superbikes. This year, weight has been cut and the engine makes more power, now over 230 horsepower at 16,500 RPM. A tubular steel frame is used, typical of all Ducati's bikes. The new version makes it easier to remove the engine, but dimensions are the same as last year's bike. The 2 riders completed 48 laps each at Sepang on the new Desmosedici GP4. Capirossi, who finished 4th in last year's championship, was impressed with what the engineers have achieved so far.
This year I have more power than compared to last year, and the bike is more easy to ride, and the chassis is better. And I think the combination, power and chassis and everything is coming in really good way.
Shortly after the Sepang session, the teams shifted to the cooler conditions in Spain. Wind plagued the test session, but the teammates did manage to pack in many laps at race pace. Bayliss managed 70 laps and knocked more than a second off his qualifying time for the final race last year at the same track. He was working on gathering data on both the 16.5 and 17-inch front wheels. The bigger one will be more stable, but make the bike less responsive to direction changes. Capirossi put in 46 laps on the first day, about twice the length of a race distance, working mostly on race setups for this particular track, and pronounced himself happy with progress. Bayliss, who was 6th last year in his first season in MotoGP, considered the handling much better than last year's bike.
It's a new bike basically, and for me to ride the bike, one of the biggest things we've got at the moment is the bike is a lot more cooler to ride. Last year we had a few problems where it was really hot to ride. We made a big change there, and the bike is just easier over race distance, and we're always working to make a bike more smoother and easier to ride. So we're going in the right direction.
Capirossi, who tested the Desmosedici over a total of 68 laps in Spain, was in an upbeat mood after the previous session in Malaysia.
I am very happy. I only tested for one day, but we can already see that the bike is very competitive. We still have work to do, but I'm already satisfied that we have been tackling the difficult problems we faced last year, and the bike is already going better.
On his second day, Capirossi went faster still, bettering his teammate by 1/10 of a second, while working on improving the bike's power delivery. The Ducati team's lap times compare well with pre-season times set by the Works Honda riders. Camel Honda presented their team at a spectacular lunchtime conference attended by over 300 guests. The stars of the show were riders Max Biaggi and Makoto Tamada, who rolled onto the stage at the Alcatraz discotheque in Milan aboard their Honda machines. The pair were joined by team director Cito Pons, who declared their common goal of winning the teams and riders MotoGP World Championships this season. Biaggi, who's won the 250cc World Championship 4 times and who finished 3rd last season in MotoGP, is happy with pre-season developments so far. Both the men ahead of him had similar Hondas. During 3 days of testing in February at the Australian circuit at Phillip Island, he smashed the lap record set by world champion Valentino Rossi at last year's race. And Rossi has switched to the underperforming Yamaha Works team this year. This is Biaggi's second year with Camel, and after finishing second in the team's championship, he's expecting more for 2004.
Today we opening the championship. Is going to start on 18th of April in South Africa, but we already have a very good feeling. We know we're gonna be competitive, and we are very excited because the challenges start again, and that's what we need to ride this kind of motorcycle and compete for the #1 position.
His new teammate, 27-year-old Japanese former superbike rider Makoto Tamada, had a good debut season last year, finishing 11th and taking his maiden podium in Brazil. The arrival of the Japanese team and his technicians has boosted the team's optimism.
Tamada is a Japanese rider, and he's aggressive and talented young rider, so I think he will have a great chance to be up there, and other than that, I like him and we will have fun.
Italian Biaggi has been runner-up in the championship 3 times and will start as a favourite to win the 2004 MotoGP title. When asked if he was hoping to pick anything up from Biaggi, Tamada said, "The girls and the money." Max believes that after several seasons finishing second or third, this has to be his best chance of winning the title. Although his team is not the official Honda Works back squad, they will continue receiving the support of the factory. The Works team riders Nicky Hayden and Alex Barros and rivals Sete Gibernau and Colin Edwards will, in theory, get the same equipment. Biaggi is hoping to start winning races as soon as the championship gets underway. He's familiar with the bike, and his technicians have the Honda performing well. Of his new teammate, Biaggi added, "When the season starts, I know that Tamada will be a tough rival who can't be underestimated." The US military has put out a call to engineers around the country. Bring us a breakthrough robotic vehicle, and we'll give you $1 million. It's all part of a grand challenge race of unmanned vehicles organized by the United States Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, who'd hoped to accelerate the development of autonomous vehicle technology that can be applied to military requirements. 21 teams converged in California. Their goal? To make it from the desert town of Barstow to the finish line in Nevada without any input or remote control from humans. The robots are not allowed to hit any animals, support vehicles, or one another on the Desert Odyssey. Each entry combines robotic technology with powerful computers, satellite navigation, and digital sensors. But the race ended without a winner as all 13 vehicles failed on the Mojave Desert course. The autonomous robotic vehicles were supposed to set out on a 200-mile race across California with the goal of one day running dangerous missions in war zones. That dream still seems some distance away, however, since most of the vehicles, modified Humvees, pickup trucks and dune buggies, broke down within sight of the starting gate. The event attracted a crowd of several hundred curious onlookers. The vehicles are a varied bunch. Some are based on standard four-wheel drive SUVs. Others are converted all-terrain or ATVs, and one, the Terramax, is made from a military transport vehicle weighing more than 13 tons. Some rivals say that Carnegie Mellon University's Red Team are the team most likely to finish within the 10-hour time limit.
Continuing on now.
As none of the vehicles completed the task, the organizers say that they'll hold the race again in 18 months' time.
Good try, guys. Anthony, good effort.
So, whether you're driving history into the future, making another title attempt, or building the Ultimate 5 Series, so you stay on track and up to speed, make sure you catch next week's Drive.